Okay, how to do a back bend, or what people might call a full body bridge, from standing all the way down into it. I'll show you that, how that kind of whole progression works. I'm just going to get into it, not get too long-winded, but in a nutshell, really quickly, I think this is something that everybody, if you have general health, can do. General level of strength conditioning, it's something you have to work into. Just like any other stretch, I consider it a stretch, but it's certainly an exercise. If you do it, you'll notice I'll be kind of worked up and out of breath as I go along. Um, just like anything, it takes some time to get into. Most people avoid it because it feels uncomfortable. And just like a lot of stretches, even like a simple hamstring stretch, this gets uncomfortable for most people until you kind of work into doing it. So, watch my progressions. I'll show you how to progress from shorter. And these progressions are something that if you can do, they're certainly beneficial. I'll talk to physical therapy friends of mine and stuff like that, and I tell them I do these hyperextension exercises like the back bend or the full body bridge, and a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. It's gonna hurt your back." I would completely disagree. I think it's something that's been done in Eastern cultures forever as complete opposite to actually strengthen your back and make it more pliable and flexible. And for me, I mean, the biggest thing is range of motion. Anytime you can increase range of motion, obviously a little bit of strength as well, your longevity of your muscles and your tendons and ligaments are just going to be much greater than somebody who doesn't do that or avoids some of these things. So, take it with whatever you will, but I'm just going to jump right into it. First thing to do if you're learning to do a back bend or a full bridge is just practice doing a regular bridge. Okay, that's something that these people do all the time. The most important thing is that you want to get this nice range of motion where your middle of your hips, even with your knees, your glutes are turned out. Then it's a matter of starting to work the flexibility in your wrist and your shoulders and your neck. And that's just something that can be as simple as this, just going back a little bit. Doing holds like that, because that alone I know is tough for most people. Then it's going right up into the full version. Okay. And you go from there. Once you get that level of comfort just doing that, then you start moving to the wall. And that alone, just doing it in the ground, is totally good and totally fine, and that's excellent. The wall is just another something bonus that I throw on there. What the wall does and what the full standing version is that I'll do in a second does, it's just something else that kind of works your nervous system and works your kind of, again, that idea of your reflexes and those little things in your brain that kind of work on your coordination and just your writing and equilibrium reflexes. So just like anything, it looks scary, and there is a little point when you're in the learning curve that you're going to be kind of freaked out, that you're really worried about doing it. But like anything, if you don't trust yourself in doing it, that's a good notification not to do it. So I'll start with the wall. I'm going to go down a little bit, work my way up, work my way all the way down, come all the way back up. Now something like that, just start doing that. You notice later on when you get more better at this, you're not going to need to be as close, you're not going to need to start as high as I did last time. You'll probably start going back right away, and your hands will touch probably that midline of where that white bar is. You'll just go right back. And this is when you start noticing that now I can start moving away from the wall. So I'll give you an example. Once you start getting a little better, you'll notice you'll trust yourself a little bit more. So something like that. Once you start to see yourself doing something like that, now it's kind of a better time to start moving away from that wall and trusting yourself. Do this with a mat. Sometimes when you're first learning this, don't rush this at all. When I first started doing this, I started to just think, well, maybe it's better if I just throw myself back and really quickly and just get it over with, and that's not good either. It literally is something that takes time, and kind of your body starts to adjust itself, and it starts to kind of trust itself a little more, and gets that kind of motor program down for how that feels going back and just going backwards. So now I'll do the full version from standing to backward, and you can check that out. And you'll notice I don't do this very fast. Now that I've kind of done this for so many years, it's very controlled. I go down pretty controlled when I do this. So just check this out. I'll do this right here. and then I'll just reset. I come here, I move myself up, and do it again. You could come all the way back up again. I'll try that. It's tough. I haven't done it in a while, but so you can do that, but that's just too much work for me to do a lot. But I do that once in a while. I think it's a great thing to do. It's one of those things that once you can do it once, once you really get it down for so many years, you can lay off it for a while and jump into it one day and you still got it. And again, when I first started, just like all you guys when you first start, it will be a little tense in your wrists, in this area, in your right in here. Your shoulders will be a little tense. Now granted, I did honestly have a good deal of kind of flexibility in my shoulders where I could go up right into that in the ground right away, but it definitely was some pain. Not pain, but just really, kind of tightness in my wrist. So don't necessarily worry about that initially. I mean, just kind of work into it. Obviously, if this hurts and you did something, then yeah, be careful. As far as close calls, I'm just giving you guys a brief overview of it, so I don't expect you just to memorize this stuff right away. But, it is dangerous, so keep your foot mat. I'm doing this in a hard concrete on a tennis court right now, but don't necessarily do this on a tennis court. If you were starting and learning, use a mat since it's a soft surface. It's good to have somebody around too. You can seriously hurt yourself. That's why I say don't do this full version until you really are comfortable just using the wall and adjusting up and down. All right, so that's it.